I would like to invite Lina Cook for a conversation about happiness and health. Welcome, Lina.
Thank you for having me.
Lina is a motivational and health mentor. She's a mom of two, a busy working soul, a lover of all natural and healthy and mindful, a true adventurer, a fitness enthusiastic, and she's in search of a balance between body and mind. She's now finalising her nutritional coaching certification, right? And creating simple but powerful life-changing ways to inspire you with healthy advice, fitness, self-growth, and better sleep. Wow, that's a lot of promises, Lina.
I realize it is now on reflection. Thank you so much for having me. And I think you said it all, really. I've come to a realization over the years that we, like as human beings, have gotten stuck in certain ways. And unfortunately, with all the media screening and unhealthy messages being sent to our children and to ourselves, that we can get lost in all this information and make the wrong choices. Hence, my last few years of my life actually have been concentrated on this, finding this balance and inspiring other people with little, very minor changes to their lifestyles, to their routines, to their eating habits, to their mindfulness in general. And I great intro to follow along. I think maybe what prompted me in general was my memories of my childhood when I was exposed to so much organic and clear produce. I mean, I lived in an era between two eras, in fact. One of my grandparents who were never exposed to ultra-produced foods or were very active without a sedentary life. And then now this last decade or two, whereby people have lost their common sense of what's good for them and what's not.
You're from Bulgaria originally, right?
I am, yes, I am. And I was blessed actually to be living these two absolutely different lifestyles. I don't even remember, but I think maybe I was exposed to processed or ultra-processed foods in my teens, like late teens, which in itself instilled a lot of good value in me as a person and what's good for my body and for my soul as well. Unfortunately, nowadays, we have to make this extra effort to educate our children because they're living in a completely different world.
So true. Thank you so much for sharing. Before starting, I call it a warm up. I usually ask all my guests about some questions about questions. It doesn't have to be related to health and food, but anyway, my first question is: what was the most meaningful question that you've ever been asked?
Okay. There probably are a few. More recently, I think it could be related to the questions that my daughter asks me, and she's turning 8 this year. It kind of reminds me that I'm doing a good job, or I'm hoping I'm doing a good job. But one of her favorite questions recently has been, Mommy, what is your favorite vegetable? Or what is your favorite fruit? And why is it so? And I think, it opens up a lot of room for conversation and experiment. And I think it's a meaningful question. It is. So that would be the meaningful question.
Okay. So except for Mommy, why? But why? But why? And you keep giving, a lot of answers, and it's but why and why?
Yeah. One of the things about the generation nowadays is that they don't take your word for granted as we used to in the past, the younger generation, I mean. So so my daughter always say, "Oh, my teacher knows better. My teacher has told me this, but your mom also knows a few things." And we quite often what we do is actually we use we use the internet to look it up and to give extra examples of why this is good for me or why this is bad for me, in like the broader concept. And that reinforces things, but also gives you more examples and further topics of conversation. And when it's on about vegetable or fruit or like simple things like that, I think it's great because children get to see that there's more to it. It's not just the question what's good or what's bad, but why, what can we combine it with, how can we make it fun? So yeah, that's definitely a meaningful question.
I definitely want to go back to kids and to the picky eaters. I have like 2 at home, and I want to go back. But before I want to ask you, I will just continue the questions about questions. One question that you were asked yourself, and it created like a breakthrough.
I think it has to be related again to the unawareness nowadays overall of people who believe in the messaging that they get through the government, through the media, through the internet, which is part of the media as well. So why don't you use your common sense? We get lost in these messages, and to me, I still don't understand why people don't go back to basics and think for themselves. So I think yes, something along those lines.
Sorry, explain me what is like back to basic.
Literally, when you go to the supermarket, a very simple example. You go to the supermarket, you reach for something easy and available to you. It's usually processed and it's in a package. You have no idea what's in that package and how it's being cooked, how many times, what thermal processes it's being going through. And nobody actually looks at the labels, which is a pity. You look at the label and you see like these 10 ingredients that you can't even pronounce. So where is the common sense in that? I mean, you can pick a couple of apples, a banana, you can make a nice salad, get some fish, nuts, seeds, mix it up together. It doesn't take much longer. It doesn't take much longer than you taking this packaging food and putting it in the microwave to heat it up. So this common sense has been lost somehow. And unfortunately, the younger generation now needs to be reinforced to look back, to see where things come from, how they've been grown. A lot of children, there's been studies in the United States, a lot of children don't recognize the vegetables and don't know which vegetable comes from where, and even the names of the vegetables. So it's these are scary statistics.
So do you think it's a matter of education?
I think it comes, first and foremost, it comes from home. It has to come from home. And the first 7 to 10 years are maybe the crucial ones. And I'm saying this because my experience as well at home, what I see is there's different age groups where when the children go through fluctuations of eating habits, and sometimes they wouldn't eat anything, sometimes they would like certain foods cooked in a certain way as well. And then other times they'll be very prone to experiment. And as they grow up and they become more aware of other foods existing and they're good and they can be mixed, they can be made in a nice shape and organized in a way that they'll be fun to eat. Then they start experimenting. But this comes from home. It starts from home. Then they see their peers. Then they see messaging on the news. iPads are very available nowadays as well, so they watch little videos. My daughter watches a lot of videos about preparing food, for example, which is like a super happy about, but with the screening of it as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I have to say that I'm super happy with my kids going to the cooking classes. I think it's their 3rd or 4th year, and today I met the assistant and I was like, I want to thank you. they're eating, they're super self-confident with the food, first of all. And second of all, they're like more ready to make experiments and to try at least one of them. And I think it's also like very important at school, what they teach, like not to hate the food, but to actually make them not to have like these fights with the food.
There'll always be a conversation, I think, between parents and children on the topic of food. You pushing this onto their plates and that. But there's ways to doing it. There's ways to motivate them. Like, for example, I make my pancakes at home a couple of times a week. I always make them in a certain shape. I always make a little happy face, decorate with fruit, decorate with seeds. My children absolutely love seeds, and they're so good for them. Nuts, seeds, anything that with a good fiber. So it's how you motivate them, how you make it fun for them as well. Tell them things like, if you eat your, say, fish or like your tuna, my little boy's into tuna at the moment, you'll have big and strong muscles, you'll have strong bones, then you motivate them to do something, that the food is going to do something for them. Motivate them with like little things, I don't know, stickers or little rewards at home. Oh, if you manage to finish your juice, let's work out a little sticker system or something like that. Motivate them with something, related to achievements in sports. That this salad can give you a lot of energy to jump the furthest at school, for example. There's a lot of ways to work with children in terms of food, but don't get discouraged if at times they're just not happy to try new things. It's just their palate is developing as well. And through the years, they will get there as long as you give them good examples.
I completely agree. And I saw it also like after 7, they're much more willing to try and to see what's happening, not to be so suspicious. Also with the vegetables and also with the fruits.
And with spices. I mean, now they're more excited about spices. They will try more seafood, for example, like more exotic stuff, exotic fruit. So now we've moved to a different shelf of fruit, which like some of the names I can't even pronounce myself, but it's all fun. It's all exciting. It's trying new things and being an experiment with them. They don't necessarily are going to like everything, but at some point, if they reach towards the things that are good for them, that's a little win for us as parents.
I'm moving in. I don't know where I'm going to sleep, but I'm moving in, and I wanna get the pancakes in the shapes. I wanna get everything and I wanna get also the snack box. So
let's not forget that it's very easy to do these things, and they don't take that much time. And I know, like,
easy for you, but easy for somebody who doesn't cook. I'm asking for a friend.
Sure, but then again, if you don't cook, okay, find an alternative. Don't cook your breakfast. I've come along a lot of like nice porridge and oats mixes. A very good organic cereal recently, and my children absolutely love it. It doesn't take any cooking. You put it in a bowl, you add a little milk, and that's all. And
wait for a second. How can I get all these recipes? I want to get like seriously like simple recipes. How I want to have them.
So part of my exciting projects is I'm going to I'm working on a series of guides and lists with a set of recipes for different occasions, like snacks, busy moms, lunches. Some are actually themed in terms of like hormonal imbalance or like physical or even mental, like stress-based issues. So yeah, stay tuned. This is coming.
No,
Very
so tell
easy.
me, I didn't know about this, but I'm super excited, I have to say. So tell me, like in a sentence, what you just said. So you are planning now.
So I am planning to release a set of guides with very easy to follow tricks and tips about shopping, recipes, nutrition, food that do good for you, and foods that don't. And some of them will be themed towards certain achievements that you would like to do, say lose weight or balance your hormones. So which foods are better for you, which are not? How can I balance my daily intake? And it. Let's not forget that it's not only down to. So stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned.
No, honestly, how can I get the list?
So I will probably put it first and foremost on my Instagram account, which is draw a star today, and we'll take it from there. I will inform everyone through maybe my Instagram and my mailing list. I'll
I want to be on that email list of yours.
Exciting times ahead.
Okay.
But let's just on that topic. Let's not forget that it's not only about nutrition. It's when you want to improve your lifestyle overall. It comes from within. But on top of your nutrition, you have to add some exercise. You have to be active. You have to think about the stress levels that you're going through. I would strongly encourage a lot of people nowadays lost in busy schedules, busy family routines.
A lot of after schools, after clubs, activities,
absolutely.
Parties. You know what? I need an Excel probably for my kids to schedule their play dates, to schedule their, birthdays, events from the school, shows, when, where. They're more busy than I am.
Very true. But there's always time. We make time. I mean, there's always time for a 5-10 minute breathing exercise. There's time for just to stop, listen. I mean, I was driving today with my car and I didn't put any music on. Just relaxed, going on a winding road, no stress whatsoever, feeling how blessed I am to actually be here, be healthy, be happy, have a healthy family, be able to be active and share all of that with whoever wants to listen to me. But we have to understand that we make time for these things. There's no right or wrong. Even if you miss a day of eating healthy or healthier, or not doing exercise because you had like a lot of things on your agenda, that's okay. Take a moment, breathe. Tomorrow's another day. We're here. We make the most of what we've got. So it's a more of a holistic approach. It is nutrition, but it also is lifestyle.
So true. You know what I remember now? You mentioned exercise. You mentioned mindfulness. You mentioned meditation and like taking it all in. But what about sleep? I'm like a case. I want to say, like, what were the chances that you are here? You're my guest, and I haven't slept like good last night. I think I slept like 5 hours, which is very little for me. And I also I just skipped lunch. So I confess, I'm like the perfect case study. I have a lot of questions about you. I would just we're just warming up. But what were the chances that today I'm like doing all the wrong things that doesn't help my total mood?
But life happens. Life happens.
I know, but it happens a lot.
Well, let's not beat ourselves up. It's a balance. It's some days we'll give in, some days won't. As long as you keep that balance more or less towards the middle, that's okay. It's when I think when you've strayed away for a few days, say, or a few weeks, as it happens, even with diet. I think you have to step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay, I've had a bad week.
How do we do that?
Just step back and think, what do you want to generally achieve in a longer run? Not like today, tomorrow, in the next week. Because when you beat yourself up that you haven't done this or that, then you get into this cycle of, I cannot go back now. I've gained 2 pounds. I've get 4 pounds. I cannot get back to myself.
And feeling more guilty actually than
Exactly.
doing good to yourself.
Yes. And so I think if you step back and you think, okay, so what do I want to be? I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to play with my children. I want to live longer, healthier, be more active. I want to enjoy the little pleasures of life. I want to eat the food that I like. I want to fit in my jeans.
So, but listen, but I have to tell you something. Sorry to interrupt you. So, like, one of my biggest problems is consistency. I get this diet. I think I saw like 4 nutritionists. I have like a, package at the gym with the nutritionist. I'm going, like checking vitamins, getting all this, all the list of vitamins, all the diets and everything. I'm doing it for 2 days. I'm super enthusiastic. After 2 days, I'm going back, not necessarily to junk food, but I'm overwhelmed with, cutting all the diet. So what's the secret? Like, how can you actually, because okay, so how does balance look to you? And how can I get it also?
It's different for everyone. I think going back to looking at the bigger picture is when I think, but that is related to it. How do you achieve that? I think I've read somewhere recently that I don't know. I think the threshold of over 50% of people who start a diet of some sort. The threshold is either 3 or either 6 months. So they either, after this period of time, they either give up completely or they see the benefits of it and they continue implementing this as part of their daily lives and like lives in general. Sometimes little triggers help in this respect, like how do I stay consistent? Before you start, say, embarking on a journey of like getting all these pills or vitamins or nutritional food, maybe do a detox. I think, generally a good detox would be a 24-hour detox a couple of times, a few weeks, or 15 hours to 9 hours, or a juicing detox. 3 days, 2 to 3 day detox. I mean, 72 hours would be a really good balance. And then you'll see that your body actually needs to get rid of a lot of stuff. It will be a little bit of a boost for you, and you would not. I guarantee you're not going to give up after 2 days or 3 days. And also let's step back and see. If you let yourself go for a few weeks, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But doing a detox will actually cleanse your system, and boom, all of a sudden you'll see on the scales, oh, I'm, say, 1 kilo less because I've just got rid of a lot of bad stuff from my body. And that will be a boost for you to actually continue and seeing the benefits out of it, which are not only physical but also mental. Because this detox cleansing releases a lot of serotonin, which you know quite well about in the happiness world, and will give you that extra boost to continue. It's not always going to be the case, but like little triggers here and there. And as long as you don't let yourself go for too long in any respect, even if you're having a stressful job and you just cannot get out of this cycle, you have to find ways to stop, reconsider, rethink, meditate, breathe deeply. Find your way.
So what I take from here is like to actually replace the unhealthy habits to healthy habits. Like this is, and we all know that forming a habit takes at least 21 days. So actually it's like we like to keep the consistency is to change that balance or that negativity of junk food or eating unhealthy or something. Listen, when we start talking about work, we talked about the moms that wants to have it all, remember? So how do you have it all? How do you find your balance?
Well, I don't. I think it's impossible to have a perfect balance. You can have a balance though. And I think when you find your happy place, you settle in your mind, you have a healthy family, you have a healthy relationship, then somehow balance happens. This I'd like to do a little metaphor. It's like, I think, like riding a wave. So you put you put all of you in it. You prepare, you do your strengthening exercises, you strengthen your core, you mind, you look at the waves, you pass one, you pass the second one, you pass the third one. You're not sure whether you can get on. You miss a lot of the good ones, but you get a few really good ones. And that's what creates the balance in you. Then you feel more balanced, then you feel more in tuned. You might not finish that project, for example, but as long as you finish this other project that means more to you, then it's fine.
So it's all about progress more than balance?
It is both. I think it is both. It is both.
So how do we find that combination?
It's different for everyone.
In the health world?
It is really different for everyone. There's no answer in it. It's some things make some people happy, whilst others are not necessarily into it. I think a healthy mind in a healthy body, per se, mine or yours, in a healthy environment, says it all. That would be, say, a balanced life.
You know, I had like this saying in my school when I was a kid. It's funny that you mentioned it.
Oh, okay. It just came to me. I don't think I've read it anywhere.
Just to go a bit back to what you said before, you mentioned the busy moms and the busy moms recipes and all this, right? Mm-hmm. So how they can do it? I know that it's more like I'm not sure like if it's repeating itself, but like how they can do the busy moms schedule like in food wise and health wise.
I think like I have a lot of prompts recently, actually, all through, like mainly through my Instagram page.
I'm one of the followers.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm stalking you, you know, like for the podcast, I was like stalking. Okay, what should I ask her next?
It's all related to just really comes down to common sense and implementing little things in your life which actually create the big impact. So little steps, little changes. And I have these prompts from women, and mainly women with children. And they like...
Which equals 3 jobs.
Exactly. And like, we can't
full
like...
This is full shift, night shift.
Exactly, yes. And they're like, you know, this is just impossible. It's great. This is great information, but it's impossible. What is impossible? What is impossible? You go to the shop and you do your shopping list. Get your shopping list ready before you go. Don't cave in buying things that you don't like.
I know.
Don't get organized before you go. Plan your trips. These are like very easy things to do in your daily routine, and you can do it actually. Start with the healthier sections. Start with the veggies, with the fruit, with the legumes, with fish.
Maybe you should make a map, you know, like through the supermarket. Like first you go, like for each first go in that area, not in the cookies area like my kids, you know, and they're like putting down the shelf, and then turn and there's like there was no space in the basket for the junk.
It's like simple things that can actually improve your whole shopping process and organizational issues afterwards as well.
So shopping lists, you're saying first of all. So the first thing is like shopping list to have it all. I know one tip. I can give you one tip. Not to go hungry to the supermarket.
That for sure.
Right?
Yes.
You go hungry to the supermarket, you just want to buy everything, and then of course you end up like buying all the worst things ever. And I remember, you know, like you're drooling before you're buying, you know, and then you're eating in the car, and then right. It's only me? It's like...
No.
Okay. Make me feel better about myself.
It's very true. However, now, if you rewire your brain a little bit, once, you know, you think about it, there are things in the supermarkets that are not so bad for you. And you can reach for them. And you can actually snack on things like, say, nuts or like dips, but like read the labels.
Tell me more. What do you mean by dips?
Like hummus, like different types of hummus. Hummus and chickpeas are very good, a very good source of energy as well. But also, there are things that you can pick, but I wouldn't have the supermarket as my first point of shopping. Supermarkets nowadays are over full of over-processed food. They are full of things that are being marketed, and hence you as a parent and your children would like to get the name. I think the supermarket is a trip when you couldn't find something else somewhere else, and then you go and
listen. We may get some lawsuits now from the
pick the things that you don't have at home, and don't make that many trips to the supermarkets or the markets either.
Okay, so where do you go? What do you do?
Go and source your food locally. Go to local producers. Go to the market. There's markets every day, everywhere you go. It's not only, they're not localized, they're everywhere.
Okay, so wait a second. One day in Lina's life, you wake up in the morning, you know that you have it's a shopping day. What do you do?
I will make myself a list. Usually I do it on my phone. I don't write as much as I should nowadays, or type. I'll definitely have a list. I'll look at the fridge. I'll have a list. I'll make a little a visual map of what I want to do during the week, food-wise. I'll try and do more of plant-based food and less of meat on the menu. We have to cut down on our meat intake a lot. And introduce more. And we have to introduce more fish. And especially where we live, we have so much fresh fish. So it's just a no-brainer. So I'll have my list. I'll go and get a couple of things. I'll go and get the more of the veggie stuff. In legumes, maybe from a couple of shops that I like, and they're local, they're bio shops, a little market that I also go to. And then
is
whatever
there any
is
order? Is there any logic, or
No, I just know what I want on my list, and I know where to get it from. And this can be the case for every single person. Know your areas. You've passed through so many little places before that you never noticed. You don't go to the big name, the big brand. They don't necessarily have the best thing for you, and it won't be priced the same. I guarantee. And what you get from what you buy from a supermarket will be usually somehow treated because it's massively produced. A little example here, by the way, to make things more clear in perspective. So say you get an apple, or one organic apple. You have one organic apple, which is full of more bursting of iron and antioxidants. And then it has a calorie intake, if I'm not mistaken, about I dare not say. But then you have an inorganic, farmly produced apple. The nutrients that you have in that farmly produced apple that has been treated, the land with pesticides, say, to grow more of, to grow quicker, the nutrients are 3 times less than in this organic apple. So you actually need, in order to get your nutrients, you need to eat 3 of the non-organic apples in order to get the same amount of nutrients that you would get from an organic apple. That means that you have to take 3 times more calories in order to have the same result in terms of the nutrients that you'll get. It's the same with, say, refined white bread and whole grain. Exactly the same equation. And there, the ratio is more like 2.5 to 5 times more calories intake in order to get the same vitamin E in whole grains than in white bread. So why would I go to a supermarket when I know the simple fact? It's a very simple fact. One of the posts on my Instagram account. Why would I go and get white bread when I know that it will give me 5 times more calories? It won't satisfy my need of nutrients, or go and buy 3 times more apples. It just doesn't make sense. And again,
It
it
makes
comes back
sense
to
if you are like in a loop of doing everything, everything is on fast forward. So if it's like if you're used to do that all your life, automatically you're going and you're on a call with someone, you don't even think, and then you're putting the white bread and everything. So it's out of like,
yes.
again, like out of habits.
It is, but every habit can be changed.
And again, people are not informed. People don't get it.
Exactly. And so it's again coming down back to basics, and thinking, maybe looking at the labels, look at them. I mean, it's something is with a bright color, big letter. I never buy anything that has big letters on it.
Really?
I mean, it's a marketing message. I think. Governments are allowed to put a big label on, say, whole grain bread that has 15 to 20% whole grains in it on a bread, say, and doesn't matter if it's bread, anything that contains whole grain, and put a big label saying whole grain. It has 15 to 20% of what you need, but it's still, they're allowed to do it. So big, bright letters, ingredients that are something that has more than 5-6 ingredients, and the names that don't ring a bell in your head or are some like alien numbering of
Usually
stuff.
starts with E something.
A lot of different things. They are not good for you. I mean, when did in the past ever anyone used to eat produced, processed, ultra-processed food? It comes down to little changes in your routines of coming back to it, a shopping list, thinking about what you're buying, heading for the better sections of supermarket if you're used to. Then coming back home, it takes about 10 to 11 minutes to cook rice. And obviously reach for the brown rice instead of the white rice if you can, or start implementing it. It takes, it's like to cook an egg, to steam some vegetables. I mean, people think that cooking is this masterpiece of time-consuming art. It isn't. It actually gets a bit of fun as well. Obviously you're not going to cook every day if you can't or you don't have time. But even if you do it a couple of times a week, I mean, it's fun. Do it with your children. Bake with your children. Show them which ingredient is what and why do you use it. Substitute. Don't put sugar. Use substitutes. Honey, stevia. Mix things that are mix fruits, mix veggies, make smoothies. At home, smoothies are a hit. I don't know. My little boy, he's turning 4 next month, or this month actually. He loves smoothies. Every single morning he goes in the fridge, mixes everything, and I have to mix it for him in the end. But he absolutely loves, he chooses his own fruit. And if you can put a little bit of cinnamon or a little bit of like nuts, even like goji berries and something that they wouldn't, sesame seeds if you're not allergic, or like sneak in a little piece of veggie in there.
A broccoli.
Anything that you can think of. There's no bad veggies.
Listen, I have to ask you I have to tell you something. I have a confession. Every time I see blueberries, I think of you. I sent you the pictures. So tell me some superpower foods, like power food. You mentioned like the ingredients, you mentioned the rice. Tell me more about like some, things that you're getting in, and you're getting also all the nutrients.
Nutrients.
Nutrients, yeah. Thank you. Hit me with some. I'm writing. This is why I brought the paper, to make the list here. And I eat like a lot of blueberries.
Yes, and you should. Blueberries are a favorite of mine as well, and my children. I cannot wait. There is this organic farm that produces them, and they're almost coming in season now. So I think I'm going to stock up on a lot. And having said that, stock up. It is okay to freeze your berries. They don't lose any of their antioxidant or fiber properties. Freeze them and reuse them. At least you know where they came from, and then they're good for you. And in this particular case, find more organic berries, not only blueberries, but berries. So berries in general are part of this superfood section. They are like antioxidant powerhouses. I love them. In general, berries contain 10 times more antioxidants than any other fruit and veg. This is amazing, astonishing. So eat your berries. I actually would recommend eating blueberries, a half a cup of blueberries every day on top of whatever else you eat, or on top of your fruit and veg intake, for example. But superfoods generally are a different category. Just like very briefly, they generally are hard to find. They come from distant countries. We don't actually always have them available. Quite often they come in as supplements. Its examples are, say, spirulina. So anything that comes from seaweed, algae. And spirulina has 100 different positive properties that everybody is encouraged to take in on a daily basis. But superfoods are only like bee products, superfoods, goji berries. I mean, some of them are more easily available than others, and they're not in a category of like the main food chain or the main essential food that you have to take. But still...
so what are the essentials?
Essentials would be leafy green vegetables, fruit, legumes, fish, nuts, seeds, along those lines. More or less, actually, these are more or less all the groups.
Taking notes?
A lot of people have stressing on eating their protein and not going to a vegetarian, vegan diet. I have to confess that I'm trying to minimize the meat intake in our house as well, because it doesn't do us that much good. It's good to diversify, and there are certain vitamins that you cannot get, but if you minimize it to a level where you still can get your nutrients, but you don't overdo it on protein, I think, meat protein, I think there's a lot of plant-based protein that you can take as well as a substitute. A lot of the leafy green vegetables are full of it.
Instead of meat?
Yes. So I think a lot of the trends nowadays, or the trendy diets, they're mostly based on the fact of eliminating meat or minimizing it, or like fish-based diets, vegetarian, vegan. Even I heard recently about this paleo diet.
Oh, yeah.
Which has become extremely popular. But
I know someone that had it, that was respecting it.
Yeah.
And actually he lost a lot of weight.
Yes, but it's the consistency after that as well.
Of course, yeah. Like everything.
Yeah. Some of these diets are actually good for detox as well. When you've been overdoing something, then maybe like stepping back, and they're almost like at the beginning, if not in parallel with the detox, but they are a detox themselves to your body.
I get it. Listen, I think I asked you before, but I will ask you again. Sleep and food. Going to sleep, I'm going to sleep. I'm waking up in the morning tired. I feel tired during the, through the day. Are there any foods that we can avoid during, like before going to sleep, or I don't know? You tell me.
From my experience, yes, they are, of course. I mean, think about spicy foods, for example. I mean, any food that is heavy and it's takes more time to be digested, obviously, it's not recommended for dinner, period.
Is it any specific hour or or not at all?
Remember we were talking about it a while back. I have this like little formula that I really like, the 3-2-1 formula of 3 hours before bedtime, no food or drinks, alcoholic beverages. 2 hours before bedtime, no work. and then 1 hour before time, no screen time.
Oh, I love that.
So I think, if it's even, these are just the numbers of, like, say, average timing. But of course, if you can avoid eating heavy food or any food a couple of hours before bedtime, that will actually give your digestive system time to process what you've taken, and then get into a, like, more relaxed mode. Screening and obviously over exercising. A lot of the times, stress-related triggers, work that you forgotten to do, or you overthinking
emails,
a lot of things as well. Yes, and stress-related as well. Sometimes it's just overeating as well. You don't have to overdo it. Alcohol is not a good friend of yours either. It creates a lot of the sleep-awake cycles.
I thought you were falling asleep very easily, right? No?
I have days and days. I have 2 small children at home, so
you need some drink from time to time. A shot of tequila.
On the subject of drinking, actually,
that's a different episode, right?
Actually, sometimes you don't screen the information you take, but sometimes it helps. I think generally alcohol is not a friend of yours. It does not help you in any way, even as a relaxant in some way. However, I came across this very interesting statistic. That having a glass of red wine, but organic, for women, and 2 glasses of red wine, organic red wine, for men, is totally fine on a daily basis, as long as it's organic, as long as it's not more than that. And it actually helps your cardiovascular system. The so-called French effect. I cannot remember where it came from originally, but
from France,
from
probably.
The casino, I would assume
they're
so.
like, let's sell more wine for the people. Yes. Or it's all organic.
Yes. But it's interesting. I mean, you live and learn.
I also knew. I heard about it. Actually, I'm not a big like the white wine and the red wine kills. Like in general, kill me. It's just very, And actually, you know what? Talking about research and this stuff. I read an article about like group of how do you say blood groups. So I'm an O+, and I found out that like I'm not allowed to drink white wine. That it doesn't do good for me or something. What do you think about like these correlations with?
I cannot. I'm not an expert. I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't even dug in it. So I don't know. Generally, I would avoid alcohol. I would avoid. I don't know what the correlation is. I think this sometimes is down to. Generally not have it, like not what your blood type is, but I think concentrated drinks, concentrated alcohol, mixing drinks. I mean, the additives that you get in all these sugary drinks as well, you don't even know what's in it. But I think generally, if you can avoid it and have a glass of red wine or whatever does it for you, it's fine. It's fine. As long as we don't overdo it and as long as we give ourselves breaks throughout a certain period of time.
I get it. So there are no specific like foods, but like you would avoid like 3 hours before, not like heavy, no alcohol.
Yes.
Is there something else? Did you?
What helps actually, and it is again related to serotonin, the happiness hormone, and also relaxes you as well. Is some of these foods that have the tryptophan, which is the precursor of serotonin. So it's an amino acid that exists in certain foods. And then if you take these foods, obviously, you will intake the amino acid that helps release more serotonin in your brain. So these foods, again, coming down to legumes, eat your lentils, eat your chickpeas, to fruit and veg, leafy green vegetables, nuts and seeds, like the simple diets that generations before us used to have.
Interesting. Talking about correlations, because we are wrapping up, the correlation between happiness and food, how would you...
Well, that's eat food.
Eat food, be happy.
Eat well. I think eat well. Live well, and then be like laugh more, be happier. It's a perfect recipe for happiness, isn't it?
It's true. One more question about questions. Is there any question that you wanted me to ask you, or any question that you never be asked but you wanted to be asked?
I think again coming down to common sense in people, because I just think it is almost extinct now, and it saddens me. Although I want to finish on a positive note. Why do people for example, when people look at me, I'm 43, and they're like, oh, you look like so vibrant, so happy, healthy. It must be your genes. Well, no, it isn't my genes. I didn't used to do what I used to do in my 20s and 30s. I wasn't so much aware of where I want to be, but also what to eat, whether to exercise or not, how active to be, how mindful to be with myself. So I would like people to ask a question more along the lines of, how do you do it? How do I do it? Not you are like that, but think about, how can you change little things in your life? How can I be vibrant? How can I be happy? It doesn't take that much. It takes little steps, little substitutes in your routines, a bit more of thinking and educating yourself, because having no time is no excuse.
I get it, but one more question. I promise to be the last one. Just because I'm getting there. Being in your 40, is it a superpower?
Oh, definitely is. I feel more accomplished than ever. I feel the strongest I've ever been. I'm just a little happy soul, really. And I have my ups and downs as well.
Like any human?
Absolutely. And but it's the superpower comes within. You feel more accomplished somehow, and you know who you are. You know what you want. It is a superpower, and it doesn't come before that. And I don't think in general it comes before that age anyways. It's the experience as well, and the fulfillment in life.
Thank you so much. It was fascinating to listen to you. A lot of notes. I'm waiting for the recipes and for all the lists, and for especially the shopping list. Thank you. The time just flew. I can't believe that.
You're welcome. Likewise. Likewise. Thank you too.